Talk to us about all of these allegations that we saw. MPs being locked in the toilet, forcefully pulled out of the chambers. What was that about? What did you see?
You had Aden Duale talking about tricks, use of tricks. And the idea generally, Yvonne, was to ensure that the two-thirds majority threshold was not achieved by all means necessary. And that is the reason why you could even see him trying to shove members of the National Assembly allied to the Jubilee Party to get out of the House so that they deny those who are opposed to the President's memorandum the requisite numbers. There are also questions of a few members saying they were being blackmailed. At the Speaker's Gallery, the Vice Chairman of the Jubilee Party, David Murathe, was there, and so was the Secretary General of the party, Raphael Tuju. And you could hear members of Parliament saying that the two, together with others, had come specifically to lobby members to ensure that the President's memorandum passes. A lot of intrigues, and even at one point you saw the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit, the cameras going off. You could not see exactly what was happening there because some members of Parliament were shoving each other and even almost getting very physical. Basically, something that one would see and say this was totally dishonorable of an august house like this. And one of the people who were inside that chambers when all this drama was happening is the chairman of the Budget Committee in the National Assembly, Kimani Ichungwa. Honorable Kimani Ichungwa, a lot of drama, and looks like you have achieved what exactly you set out to do today together with the other parliamentary leadership in the Jubilee Party insofar as the passage of the President's memorandum is concerned.
Let me begin by saying first, it was indeed a season of drama that is now over. And the drama was being dramatized by people who are populist, people who are hypocritical, people who either have not read the provisions of Article 122 and 115 of the Constitution, or are simply just putting up a show just for drama and to, pretend to the Kenyan people that they are speaking for Wanjiku. Actually, I want to tell you, what was before the House this afternoon was not a question of either 0 or 16% or 0 or 8%. What was before the House this afternoon was a question of either 8% as proposed by the President in his memorandum or the subsisting 16%. I stood and I still stand by the 8% as proposed by His Excellency the President. Those who wanted 0% ought to have procedurally and in line with the provisions of both our standing orders and the Constitution to have brought an amendment. Up to this time, nobody. In fact, on Tuesday, when the Speaker gave his communication, he made it quite clear that now this memorandum has been committed to the Finance Committee. If indeed you have any other position other than that proposed by His Excellency the President, bring an amendment, sponsor an amendment.
200.
Ask any of those people how many sponsored any amendment.
215 members in the House, a majority of whom at that time were opposed to the President's memorandum. Wasn't there probably a better way of lobbying them so that you don't put the House into a shame like we saw it today?
Let me say, Gashuri, it's quite regrettable because I said these are politicians who are hypocrites, who are political conmen, who are conning the public that they are speaking for Wanjiku. But they are speaking for their selfish political interests. Trying to portray and dramatize that they are speaking for Wanjiku, calling for 0%. If any one of them wanted 0%, they should and they ought to have sponsored an amendment to the memorandum. 2, Article 115 of the Constitution is quite clear. That, and I've seen this in the media running, even on social media, people asking that the ayes and the nays had it. And indeed, it is true. If you read carefully Article 115 and 122 of the Constitution, Article 122 speaks about a simple majority, which is with a quorum of 50 is 26 members. Half of 50 is 25 plus 1, 26. Article 115 provides that for you to be able to negate what has been proposed in a memorandum by the President,
you need
two-thirds. Therefore, the onus was on those who wanted to negate the President's memorandum to proposing 8% to be able to raise 2/3. The Speaker puts the question whether ayes or nays have it. If the nays have it, she will pronounce herself that the ayes have it. For those who are voting nay, to prove to the House that they have the numbers, the 2/3. The way to prove, Francis, that you have the numbers of 2/3 is 2 ways. Either by voting electronically, which they refused, or 2, voting by lining up and being called out by name. But
Which
they never
did
wanted that.
very well.
They never wanted that because they do not want they do not want Kenyans to know the truth.
That's why we end it up. And Yvonne, tomorrow, most likely the president will be signing that Finance Bill 2018 into law. And that means as soon as he has put pen to paper, then the impact of that legislation will be felt by ordinary Kenyans out there in terms of the taxation. Of course, there's pending business that will be transacted from the 2nd of October when members of parliament resume, including the completion of the process of that supplementary budget, which never was not completed because of the showdown and the stalemate that you saw in the House. But from tomorrow, and as soon as the president has signed that bill into law, then the impact will be felt out there.